John from Canada who wants to talk to us. So a double theist call in a row here. John from Canada, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hi, Dan. Hi, Godless Granny.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, yes. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm
John, how
fine.
about yourself? It's been a minute.
Yeah. Anyway, this question is for Godless Granny. Godless Granny, I'd like to know when, how did you lose your faith? I'd like to know.
Okay. I lost my faith about 4 years ago. And as I was just saying a minute ago, that it started when I started reflecting on the life of the Apostle Paul. And I didn't know it at the time, but what happened was I ended up with the divine hiddenness problem. What I did was I thought about the fact that God made a personal appearance to Paul. And when he did, he told Paul exactly what he needed to know in order to believe. And so I had to ask myself, does God want everyone to believe in him? And if the answer to that question is yes, then why doesn't God do the same thing for everybody? And if the answer is no, then what's the point in believing if God doesn't want you to believe? He doesn't care whether you believe or not. And if he does want you to believe, and he does know what you need to know in order to believe, why doesn't he give that to everyone if he's able to do that?
So you felt you didn't get it? What you were looking for?
Well, okay, I at that time did believe in God. I had that belief, but I also knew a lot of people who didn't. And I had prayed repeatedly for God to give me the words to tell people that would allow them to believe as well. God, what does this person need to know so that they can believe? And no words would come to me. Or I would tell them what I knew from the Bible, but no one was speaking to me and giving me specific things to say that would help that particular person. But it shouldn't even be me. If God really cares about what people believe, then why isn't God doing this himself? Why isn't he telling people what they need to know in order to believe?
At one point, you felt that it was your job to tell people about him, correct?
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you feel like your role was pointless.
Um, okay, I was a believer for 42 years. And during that time, I did not feel my role was pointless because at that time I thought that belief in God was the most important thing of all, because that was going to get you into heaven, and that this life was just a dress rehearsal for that life. That life was for eternity. This one was temporal. And so I thought, yes, telling people about God was the most important thing that I could do.
What changed?
As I told you, I suddenly realized that it didn't make any sense. Um, if God really does want people to know about him, then why isn't he telling people? Why isn't he making sure that everyone gets that information, not just a few people? Why isn't he making sure everyone gets exactly what they personally need, instead of sending me, who doesn't know what's in other people's brains, to try to guess what they need to know in order to be saved? Why doesn't God, who knows exactly what they're thinking and what's stopping them from knowing, tell them himself?
Is there anything that could bring you back?
It's possible, but extremely unlikely. And here's why. Because that took me from a Calvinist position to a Universalist position. And I still believed in God at that point. But from there, also still believed in the inerrancy of the Bible. And it wasn't long after that that someone proved to me that the Bible does contain errors, specifically that the flood did not happen. Not not it could not happen. It did not happen. And we can prove that it did not happen. And once I knew that the Bible was not inerrant, as I had always been taught, then I could no longer believe. there was no foundation for my faith anymore.
If God Himself stood right in front of you, like right now, would you still believe, or would you acknowledge His existence and turn your back?
I would have to ask him who he is and what he's all about, because everything that I've been taught about God cannot possibly be true. So if there really is a God and he really wants me to know him, and he came before me and said, "Hello, here I am," my first question would be, "Who are you and what are you all about?"
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. Have a good night.
Okay, you too.
Thank you, John, for talking to us. And yeah, there it is, folks. John from Canada talking to us. Just ask it questions.
Yep.
Apparently.
Nothing wrong with
So
that.